I should make it clear we are reconvening from closed session. May I have a roll call?
Student trustee Maria.
Hello everyone. So this.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Student trustee Rajan.
Here.
Student trustee Garcia.
Here.
Trustee Lee.
Here.
Trustee Jeff.
Here.
Plata.
Here.
Vice President Walker.
Here. We have an agenda for tonight. Perhaps we can
Move to
close
approve.
out the roll call first.
We just did the student trustee Chap.
Thank you. Trustee Lee, were you saying something
Oh, I was
completely
actually going to
wonderful
make a
for the
motion.
meeting?
I was going to make a motion to approve the agenda. So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have minutes from our last meeting on March 18th.
Move to approve the minutes of March 18th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. There's nothing to report out of closed session. Moving on to agenda item 11, communications, is the board report, starting with students. I believe that Ms. Morera is ready.
All right. So hello everyone. This week is gonna be our Step Up rally on Friday, meaning that right now we're in our Spirit Week. ASB just finished their elections, and prom is so soon for seniors. JCYC's hosting field trips for juniors and seniors, and there are CT classes, field trips to improve their knowledge on their fields.
Thank you. Westmore?
At Westmore, we've been having our ASB elections with candidates being announced yesterday. We also had our prom for juniors and seniors last Saturday at SF City Hall. Red Cross Club is also organizing their blood drive, which will be happening tomorrow in our small gym. Filipino Dance Club / Filipino Barkada is organizing Island Fiesta, which is a yearly tradition. Our next rally will be happening in early May, and our Women's History Month just wrapped up with their Jeopardy event.
Thank you.
All right.
Oceana?
At Oceana, we're currently in interim week, which kind of symbolizes Senior X just ending, which was last Friday. So very proud to all the seniors. And then we're also selling Oceana PJ pants and prom tickets right now. Our prom is going to be on May 3rd. We also had Springfest and a rally that were in the past couple weeks.
Thornton? From our graduate? Right on.
Thanks. Today is really ugly. It was really windy and nasty outside. I just want to put that out there. But yeah, at Thorin, a little over a week ago, we had 2 school field trips. One was to Levi Stadium and the other one was to Alcatraz. I went to the Alcatraz one and it was cool. I just wish we would have stayed longer. We were only there for like an hour. But both were successful and fun. I had fun. Last Wednesday, we had a muralist come to the school to talk to students about our upcoming mural project, which we are going to begin painting on the wall, I think after spring break. I was there because they hired me because they actually want to document the process, and they hired me to do that because I'm in that field. So that's cool. Many students are finishing up on their last few credits. And those who aren't finished get to leave early due to reduced schedule because they're finishing up on those credits, which is cool. Prom forms were given out last week for students who are attending this year, and tickets are now on sale. And we also had job readiness workshops come to the school to help out any students who need help looking for a job or help setting up resumes. And that's it for over here.
Thank you. Trustee Lee?
All right. First of all, Daniel, I appreciate you continuing to milk every possible congratulations, which you so richly deserve, for being done now. So congratulations once again. Just a couple of things, going back a couple of weeks to the fabulous art showcase that we had out here in the lobby. The student art exhibition was really fantastic, just to see all the amazing pieces of work that all of our students have created. And it was a perfect gallery to showcase their talent. So it was really great to be able to come, particularly on the official opening night of the art showcase. And then last night I was at student advisory, and I know the student trustees are hard at work on their various projects that we'll see a presentation for here in a couple of weeks. So that's pretty much it. Although I just want to add, I know this is a crazy time in world and national politics, and driving up here on my commute up from Mountain View, where I work a couple of days a week, I was listening to the tail end of Senator Cory Booker's lengthy 25 hours and 5-10 minute speech, something like that. And that last hour was just a powerhouse, where he just kind of went through the work, the civil rights work that, that John Lewis had done, and the inspiration that Lewis was to Booker. And the fact is, all of us can do something in this environment, and we all should be doing something. I'm here doing something. All of us up here are doing something. Each of you out there are doing something to advance the cause of democracy and decency and love of fellow human beings. The empathy that we all need to collectively share is something that we need to continue to do and remind ourselves and hold each other accountable to do on a daily basis. And I'm proud to be part of a district that continues to show that amongst students, amongst staff, amongst each other. And let's continue to do that, because we can save the world by saving each other and taking care of each other.
That was like the perfect segue to my board report, because last Sunday I attended my first NAACP chapter conference of San Mateo County. And it was really moving. And I think some of you might not know this, but I'm not the typical quote unquote African American. I wasn't born in America, so I don't really know the struggles of Black people in this country. And so, like Trustee Lee said, do something. I'm starting out by educating myself. And just by going to that event, it was truly moving. It was truly moving to see people that have been in the fight. You know, I think ever so often when things get good, we forget all the fight that went into making things good. Case in point, Nazi Germany didn't happen overnight. Slavery didn't happen overnight. So what is it you can do today, right now? If it's debunking a fact on social media, you are doing something. So stand up for what's right. So anyway, just talking about that is getting me rather emotional, but that makes me human. And we are all human. Our emotions are gonna come into play, but staying silent doesn't fix anything. Pick a side. Stand for something you believe in and be willing to fight for it. That's it.
Boy, after hearing my two board members speak, I'm exhausted. I'm worn out by all this. And yet I worry that I might get stopped, and asked to show my ID and end up getting locked up somewhere. This president has been completely transparent this whole time, completely transparent. And we can't just say, hey, he's crazy. He's doing it. And no one knows how to respond. No one's even, the only way that the laws, fighting the legal fight, hopefully the Constitution will hold up to it. But everything's so politicized, and yet it just hurts when I see, brown people getting hauled off the street. I mean, that could be me. I carry those yellow cards that Faith in Action handed out. I carry those in my purse. I carry them in my car. I'm ready to, I'm putting it around the neighborhood because you don't know. But you're right, we can't stay silent. I'm glad I'm in a district that we think the same way, this board. I'm excited to see our students. This presentation I'm so excited for because it's our students who are doing the work and what they believe in. And this program's amazing. Can't wait to see it. But I have to get re-energized myself. But I'll report on facility subcommittee later. But let's stay strong.
I'm going to start by telling a short Cory Booker story. 2010, I was fortunate enough to be in the room where he spoke. There was maybe 500 people in the room. And he was describing being a local elected official. And one of the community members was trying to convince him that he needed to act on something. And I don't remember what it was. And he kind of says to her, he's brand new. So what should I do? She says, well, I don't know, but do something. So it's good to know that maybe he's figured out what he needs to do. In more traditional reporting, I came by the art show that was here a couple weeks ago. I was thoroughly impressed by the work, and I believe there was a Best in Show. And I'm just kind of happy to know that I kind of know that student a little bit. I'm proud of her. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I went to a career day at Thornton High School, and I don't see any of you here that were there except for Danny. And
About the gains.
about the what? Oh, we had Raising Cane's. Cane's provided us food for lunch. That was pretty good. I got to share about my careers with 2 other people. And if you're somehow connected to them and you like what they said or what I said, find a way to get to me if you want to know more. I think it was that important. Last week I was here on Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. The Community College District had their meeting here. They came to North County and they shared a lot of things about the 3 schools in the district. They talked about the Promise Scholars Program. They talked about middle college. They talked about dual enrollment, all things that our district is participating in. So it was good to hear. I'm glad I was here for that. I'm looking forward to my first housing meeting this week. I was also inspired by the NAACP meeting last week with Trustee Cho. And that's all I have to say.
For the superintendent report today, I do not have anything to report, just that I'm honored to be up here tonight with everyone as Ms. Presta was unable to attend.
I think we have at least one board subcommittee report. Ms. Tejada.
So we had a meeting of the facilities subcommittee on March 28th, and we discussed our current bond projects. So first of all, the new district office and the adult education buildings are in the final stages of commissioning, so we're expecting to close out those projects really soon. The Terra Nova baseball and softball fields are progressing really well now. There were some delays caused by permitting issues and rainy weather, but we're on track to complete the project by the end of August. So by the next baseball season. And for the Jefferson High School gym and pool project, where it's going smoothly, and we're still on track for demolition right after graduation in June. And so there's also one little project for the intersection improvements in our employee housing, like the sidewalk area. And we didn't receive any bid responses. Just small project, small scope. So this wasn't totally unexpected, but we're working directly with contractors to explore alternative proposals outside of the formal bidding process. And finally, we discussed upcoming improvements at Oceana. And Director Phillips is collaborating with Principal Torres to identify key projects, including upgrades to the site signage, the theater, and improvements to the gyms, bathrooms, and locker rooms. And that's my report.
Thank you. Any other subcommittee reports? AFT Local 1481 report. Monica Casey.
Hello. The main thing I really want to say is that if you check our AFT 1481 website, there's some ways to get involved. There's April 5th, hands off mass action. You can sign up, you can show up. There's lots of different places to participate. So even if you're in the East Bay, North Bay, South Bay, or San Francisco area, or San Mateo area, you can participate. So please scroll through those items. So that's all I have for right now. And spring break is next week for some of us. So looking forward to that.
Thank you. Agenda item 12 concerns the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. 13 is public comment. Do we have any public comment, Madam Clerk?
We do not.
14, A1, is the Be the Change Youth Coalition. And we're going to have a presentation led by Mary Beer.
Good evening, everyone, trustees. Thank you so much for having us. To the student trustees, you're amazing. Thank you for putting in all the time that you are. Daniel, it's good to see you. Makes me so happy to see you. My name is Mary Beer. I'm the Director for Alcohol and Other Drug Services at the Daly City Youth Health Center. We have an evolving program over at the health center. We're going to be rebranding. It's called Inspire, and that's for a whole nother presentation. But we have some buckets. We have brief intervention. We have community education, youth leadership, and policy advocacy. And tonight, we will be highlighting our youth leadership. This is my research group from Oceana High School. I'm very, very proud of them. They have been working, some of them, for years on this, and I'm just going to turn it over to them. So I'm going to hand the mic over to Sarah.
Student in the building.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to hear our presentation. Like Mary said, we are Be the Change Youth Coalition. We have been working the last few years on collecting research, policy advocacy, especially focusing on mental health and substance use. And throughout Be the Change Youth Coalition, there are many different groups, which Salafa will explain.
Hi. First up, there's the Summit Workshop Group. They create student-led workshops, which they present at the summit. And the podcast group creates podcasts interviewing people and interviewing people about their experiences with mental health and like substance abuse. Social media, they create posts advertising BTC and what we do and what we strive to do. And research group, we collect data from surveys just to show the impact and prove how substance abuse and mental health impacts the high schoolers and just our community. And I'm going to be passing the mic over to Natalia. Oh, sorry, Sarah.
So like Salafa mentioned, we have conducted many surveys as the research group. Some of these include data from FogFest from the last 3 years about cannabis, Narcan and opioids, as well as mental health. From these FogFest surveys, we have collected approximately 300 to 400 respondees through then. And we have also had focus groups at our youth summits. And in these focus groups, some of our youth leaders had led discussions about substance use and mental health with adults, middle schoolers, high schoolers, and even elementary age as well. And during those times, we conducted a lot of data that we would like to present to you here today about this data, what we've noticed from it, and also some possible solutions that we have. And we also, along with this data, rely on data from the California Healthy Kids Survey from 9th graders and 11th graders. And to talk about those topics that we have conducted or have collected will be Natalia.
Hi, so we're going to be going over easy access to vape products for the youth, Narcan and overdose prevention, girls afraid of being beaten up, suicide and chronic sadness, and then differing adult and youth perspectives on mental health. I'm now passing the mic on to Savannah and Emma.
Okay, so now we'll be talking about substance use prevention, and our first point is easy access to vape products for youth.
So starting with our primary issues is the legal selling of vape and nicotine products to our youth. And this can be connected to the easy accessibility of vape products from drug and tobacco retailers and the appeal of flavored nicotine products to our youth, which will wrongfully attract and condone these youth into substance abuse. And another main issue is that tobacco retailers are really close to our schools, and in some cases they can be less than a 3 to 4 minute walk. And next is our findings from our surveys, with 37% of surveyed youth or adults recommending more education on substance abuse, 20% of 9th graders thinking vaping is not harmful, and 30% of 9th graders say it is easy to obtain vape products.
For some possible solutions that we have found, we were considering working with cities to increase police compliance checks. We can do this by increasing tobacco license fees, which would fund for these checks. And it would crack down specifically on vendors who are illegally selling flavored nicotine. And we would also like to mention health education that supports these youth in their knowledge of the harmful effects of vaping and substance use. And now I'll be passing it to Lance and Jeff.
So a second point, Narcan and overdose prevention. A primary issues are that commonly nowadays, young people are dying from accidental fentanyl poisoning, as fentanyl is commonly being laced into common opioids when young people use them for the first time, like cannabis and other drugs. Also, youth in our schools do not have proper access to Narcan, which can mean the difference between life or death in the scenario of a drug overdose. Furthermore, in our surveys, we found out that youth and adults would appreciate more education on opioid overdose and Narcan prevention. Here are findings from our BTC surveys in 2023 and 2024. 54% of adults recommend that youth should have access to Narcan products, 80% of youth reported that they should be allowed to have access to Narcan. 80% of adults were not taught about overdose prevention, and 78% of adults reported wanting education regarding overdose prevention.
Now, after listening to our primary issues and findings, here are our possible solutions. To work with the County Office of the Education to allow youth to have access to Narcan after receiving opioid overdose prevention education and and the Narcan training, and have the JUHSD representation on the San Mateo County Opioid Task Force. We would like to express our thanks to the JUHSD for continuing to support health education in our classrooms and providing staff and teachers with Narcan training and access to Narcan. Our next segment we will go over is on mental health, passing it over to Natalia and Salafa.
Hi, I'm Natalia.
And I'm Salafa. We're going to be talking about the girls who are afraid of getting beaten up.
So 12% of 11th grade girls in JUHSD are scared of being beaten up. This means a lot to me because I know girls from my school and from other schools in JUHSD. These girls go to school hoping to learn, hoping to, hang out with their friends. Instead, they're going to school in fear that they are going to get in a fight and they're going to be beaten up.
We found that 15% of high school girls reported getting into a physical fight within the last 12 months. 8.5% of high school girls reported getting physically abused by their partners, while 11% have reported getting sexually abused by any perpetrator.
So our next steps, we want to continue to provide mental health support, mediation, and support services for both the victim and the perpetrator. By doing this, it'll give the perpetrator and the victim the support systems that they need. We would also like to continue to collaborate with the Daly City Youth Health Center and promote healthy relationship campaigns. We want to educate these students and these kids on healthy relationships versus toxic relationships and how you can prevent getting in these toxic relationships that nobody wants to be getting into.
And we should care because the fear of being harmed leads to anxiety and depression and many other mental health issues. Fighting creates a toxic school culture where it's normalized, where students come to school every day not feeling safe and supported, but coming to school every single day feeling safe, supported, and ready to learn. That's just a basic right that every student should have. And there are 12% of these girls in this district do not have that right.
We'll now be passing the mic on to Sarah.
And moving on, I'll be talking about suicide and chronic sadness, which can come from a result of that fear of being beaten up, as well as many other reasons. So the primary issue here is that more students are experiencing chronic sadness and suicidal thoughts. From our data, this number has been increasing, and looking at our findings, 13% of 9th graders and 10% of 11th graders have seriously considered attempting suicide in the past 12 months, and 30% of 9th graders and 36% of 11th graders reported feeling hopeless almost every single day for 2 or more weeks. And this not only impacts their daily lives, but impacts their education, ability to focus, and that feeling of being safe is just taken away. And this can impact them in so many different ways, and we want to acknowledge this and get to the root of the problem, as with these feelings also comes with more likely to turn to substance abuse, which we have seen through our focus group discussions. So with that, here are our possible solutions. First, we know that the district has the Stop It app, an anonymous reporting app and QR code, and we believe that BTC can really help promote this, because from our focus groups and discussions, we've also seen that not a lot of youth and schools actually know about Stop It and how to use it and to turn to it. So we want to help bridge that gap and have the youth help educate their fellow youth. And we also want to integrate suicide prevention and mental health education more into the curriculum. And we know it's touched on in health classes. However, we think that this can be integrated more and really help reduce the stigma and create more opportunities for open conversations, because there is a gap and we want to help bridge that gap. And to discuss that will be Renzo.
Yes. Today I'm going to be talking about differing adult and youth perspectives on mental health. Now, a big statistic that we found was 35% of youth surveyed reported that they are not comfortable talking to adults about mental health. And something else connecting to that is 24% of adults reported they are not comfortable to talking to youth about mental health. Now, the reason why we think this is such a big deal is because we feel like youth and adults should be able to talk to each other about mental health, since mental health is kind of a big deal, especially nowadays. Now, some possible solutions that we thought of were, we want to continue to offer confidential and accessible support services. Now, we want to continue to make school counselors easily available and to ensure students know how to reach them. And me personally, I know me and a lot of peers actually don't know how to access our student counselors. And the reason why this is a big deal is because we don't have any way to develop a relationship to allow each other to get close to our student counselors. This prevents people from talking to their student counselors about personal issues, whether it be suicide, drug use, or anything like that. And we also want to continue different ways to provide anonymous ways for students to ask for help, whether it be suggestion boxes or online forums. This kind of just allows students to have a comfortable way to share their struggles, whether it be bullying or the other issues I talked about before, like mental health or substance use. And lastly, we want to provide students with clear understanding of mandated reporting, which serves kind of as a barrier for feeling comfortable sharing. Now, this is something a lot of me and my friends kind of feel is a big struggle with the idea of a student counselor or a school counselor, because the mandated reporting system isn't really explained to students. So a lot of students feel like it's kind of like this thing where, oh, if I share anything personal I have towards a school counselor, they may just like report it, and my whole like connection with my school counselor is kind of just dead where it stands. Now, we also want to continue to celebrate mental health awareness events. This will kind of help normalize the idea of mental health and allow students to feel more comfortable sharing things like mental health. Now, we want to recognize events like Mental Health Awareness Month, which is kind of a big month for mental health awareness, which will help kind of, again, normalize the idea of mental health. We also want to organize themed weeks with fun activities, educational sessions, and guest speakers. This can help share personal experiences with of people who've struggled with substance use or mental health or things of that sort, and can kind of help, again, normalize the idea. That's kind of the big thing we're having here, is we want to normalize the idea of mental health. We also want to encourage students and staff to share positive messages and experience, whether it be their own personal experiences dealing with issues with mental health or issues with substance use, to help, again, normalize the idea. And lastly, we also want to continue to engage parents and guardians. We want to organize parent workshops on mental health and youth communication strategies, which we believe you guys can help us with. We want to help get parents more involved with mental health so they can feel more comfortable talking to their own children about it. We also want to send home mental health resources and discussion guides to then help with that. We also want to encourage collaboration between parents, teachers, and counselors to support student well-being. This will then help teachers, parents, student counselors, all different types of adults that could help students with their struggles with mental health, substance use, all these different big things that we feel like are big issues in our community that adults can help with. And that's why we think this is kind of a big deal. Next, I'll be passing it on to Emma.
We'll now go through the highlighted possible solutions that the district can partner with BTC in. So starting off with substance abuse and specifically vaping, we really want to thank and really appreciate the continued support of health and drug use education on vaping and nicotine products, and would like to continue increasing, growing, and fostering this program. And for the overdose prevention education, we would like to work with the County Office of Education for allowing youth to have access to Narcan products after education and training, and have the JUHSD representation on the San Mateo County Opioid Task Force. Next, for mental health and the fear of violence, sadness, and thoughts of suicide, we would like the continue of providing mental health support for both the victim and perpetrator,
and the continued collaboration with Daly City Youth Health Center in promoting healthy relationships, and to promote more anonymous apps with youth-led programs. Now for the youth and adults communication about mental health, we would like to organize parent workshops specifically on the mental health of youth and communication strategies. Now we would like to mention a bit about what Be the Change personally means to us as members of the program. For me, Be the Change was something that really gave me a way to see how I can take action in my own community. And it gave me kind of a perspective of how I can make a positive impact and I can become part of my community. And through this really nurturing, safe environment, I really learned how. And we'll each give a little memo.
So BTC to me is a very, very supportive community. I feel like when I walk in there every Wednesday, I have so many people to talk to. It's such a safe space and it's so uplifting and there's just such a positive vibe. I feel like I always have a smile on my face. I'm always laughing. It's just a great space. And I suggest all students to join this program. Mary makes everyone feel just so safe and they, say whatever they want, be who they are. And by joining BTC, students make new friends, and they just have another safe community that they can always rely on.
To me, Be the Change was really eye-opening for me as I was educated on a lot of things I didn't really know, which even like things that were really relevant today, like issues. But not only that, it was also a safe space where I could really have a voice, and I think it's a really supportive environment that I didn't really have, so I'm really grateful for it.
BTC is really important to me, and it played a huge part in my high school experience. I started when I was in freshman year, and now I'm a sophomore, so this is my second year, and it taught me a lot. Like, for example, I had no idea what Narcan was. Like, I had no idea what it was used for, and I didn't think that I could ever, like, make a difference with the substance abuse and mental health. And Mary makes it just so easy to, like, contribute and to, like, I just feel like every Wednesday I walk in there, like Savannah and Natalia said, I walk in there and it's just so supportive, and there's no fear in sharing your ideas and no fear in like learning what you don't know. And it's just such a supportive space, and yeah.
For me, BTC is really a great environment to hang out with my friends with. I gained a lot of information, valuable knowledge on mental health and substance abuse.
For me, yes, it's about learning about substance abuse and like mental health, but for me, it's really about the space that Mary has really embedded in this organization. Basically, I started last year, and I didn't know what I got myself into until I met her. After meeting her and her kindness, she basically embedded her positivity and made me a better person. I am truly grateful, Mary. Thank you.
Well, I've been doing BTC for almost 4 years now, so basically my whole high school career. And the thing is, BTC helped introduce me, like a lot of other of my peers, helped introduce me to a lot of these issues, whether it be Narcan, mental health, and things of that sort. But the thing is, a lot of the people around me, my peers, who are not a part of BTC, don't have access to an outlet like BTC, which is why I believe this is such a big issue. A lot of things like mental health, Narcan, opioids, all these things, a lot of people don't know about, but BTC helped teach me about it, which is why I want to teach a lot of other people about it. And a lot of these issues aren't focused on commonly, which is why I believe it's such a big deal. And we know how much effort you guys want to put into our community, and you guys also want to help our community with these issues, and which is why we want to kind of work together with you guys to help solve these issues.
Yes, like Renzo, I had been a BTC for the last 4 years, and this program, well, to be honest, it did start with wanting to fulfill our community service requirement. The moment I walked in, Mary completely changed my mindset. She and her team of interns created this, like mentioned, safe space that really made sure no one was left behind, really made sure that every person was able to speak. And I've really watched this program change and grow. It started, I remember one of our first workshops we led was about the importance and brilliance of resiliency and really keep going. We've spread messages about how it's important to have kind on your mind. And this year, our message is to educate, communicate, and celebrate. So, like mentioned earlier, we have a youth summit, and this will be our 7th annual one. And I want to invite all of you there. And so if you see the QR code on the screen, you can scan it and RSVP for free. And really, we've talked to you about how we want to educate and what we want to do, but we want to make sure that more and more people can communicate this. Because while unfortunately BTC is only at Oceana, this is our way right now of branching out and allowing the community to hear what we have and hear their opinions and really work together and celebrate all of this and celebrate everything that makes us unique, celebrate all the good that's come as well, and work towards improving the community as well. From there, we have workshops led by our summit groups to hear more about mental health and substance and how that affects our community. They also make videos based off that. And we also have focus groups that we mentioned and really a place to facilitate those discussions. There's also a live podcast where you get to hear our podcast firsthand and how their perspectives through the group and also issues that are happening today as well. And then to celebrate, we also have a photo booth to take pictures and capture the memories. And we hope that you guys can join us on May 10th at Ingrid B. Lacey, because these summits, we have had over hundreds of participants, and we hope to see you guys there as well. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule for hearing us, and please let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Any questions? Can we start with a... I've been told to start with the student trustees.
Okay, I can go first. First off, I just like to say I really loved your presentation. I thought it was really well done. Yeah, it's really amazing. I go to Westmore, so we don't have BTC at Westmore, but as you were talking about the struggles that you face across our district, I was thinking about how important it is that you brought this to the board and how important it is that we implement this across all of our schools. So thank you.
All right. You guys, I know like BTC, I see you guys around school and I know that you guys meet every week and I've seen how much work goes into this. So props to you guys. You all cover a lot of important topics that I feel aren't really, there's not a lot of light on them, which again, that's really big that you guys are talking about this. And one thing that I noticed through your entire presentation was the amount of data that you guys had for each of your topic. And I feel like that's really important because when you look at the data, it really lets everything sink in and it's like, wow, like this is affecting a large group of people around us because, you know, we're all involved in this district. And so it just really like backs up your guys' claims. And yeah, I really appreciated all of like the percentages and all of the data that you guys included as well. And yeah, again, I've only heard positive things about BTC. And it's making me want to join next year, so.
Those were all really good speeches. Good job, guys. You said there was an event on May 10. Anyone can go?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I know.
First of all, amazing. This literally gave me chills. And in case I haven't actually met most of you, but I'm actually the board liaison to the Daly City Youth Health Center. So I'm really proud of you guys. that makes my job to this board so much easier. So thank you. Incredible presentation. One question, and this is just a question to think about because this will come up in the program. And I work in healthcare, and we had, when I was doing my training, we had a similar project, kind of like the Narcan project that you guys are proposing, which was the clean needles, if anyone is familiar with that. And so then the question that was raised was like, well, aren't you just encouraging people to use much drugs because now they have a safety way out? So then I ask you the same question. If somebody asks you that in the community, by making Narcan readily available, is not just going to be a backdrop for people to use more drugs, knowing that they have a safety net in a way? Or should the bigger problem we really should be looking to solve is how do we even keep drugs from getting into our neighborhoods in the first place? It's okay. You can come back next time if you want to write down an answer.
No, I think that's actually a really good point. And I think a big problem is, though, a lot of times drugs are almost impossible to keep out of the community, and it's kind of inevitable. And the thing is, I've seen a lot of people like suffering from the drawbacks of drugs, whether it be homeless people in the community in SF actually recently, because during our interim week, we've been going around SF and seeing a lot of these issues firsthand and how these drawbacks can impact people, which is why I and many others in our group believe that people should have an outlet like Narcan to fall back on, even though we realize drugs are an issue in our community and we want to stop it. That's why we think we should do things like preventing drugs or increasing like drug awareness. But at the same time, in the end of the day, people are still going to utilize drugs, which is why they kind of need that safety net.
Great answer. It's going to be a lawyer one day. Yes, please.
Tiny little bit.
Please.
One of the reasons that Narcan is so important is because our young people are being poisoned. And so kids are out, if they experiment for the very first time, they take a pill, they smoke a joint, things are being laced. And so that's really why we believe that Narcan is so, so important.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. And then one more comment, sorry, Andy, this is like my, one more comment, if anything, that throughout this presentation that really resonated with me, and I feel since I've joined this board, that's kind of sift through issues within our district, is the sense of safety on campus, right? And so I don't know what the process is with this. If we want to put that as a future agenda item, is that how we do it, Tina? Okay, all right, anyway.
Yeah, at the end, there's an agenda item.
Got it, okay. So anyway, that's the one thing that's resonating with me, and I want to, in front of you, and really commit to looking into that sense of like, without a doubt, I can already sense that because you guys have BTC, for example, in common, there's naturally a sense of camaraderie that would exist. You guys already have that sense of community. Every student within the school district should feel that. It shouldn't be limited just to PTC. No, like BTC, obviously it's the pinnacle, but that should be able to sift down through. So great work, what you're doing, keep pushing.
Fantastic presentation. Just sort of, just taking a step back and just listening to each of you, I just think about the practical skills that you've learned by being a part of this group, right? One, you're researching, you're reporting out on what you've researched, and you've come to specific conclusions on what the next step should be based on the data that you've seen. You're developing communications and marketing skills. You're doing event planning. You're educating us on that which you've learned, presentation skills. And I think the most important one actually is the fact that you're listening to each other and to the community around you. And that is something that each of us need to do a better job of. So kudos to you for that. With regards to this safe space that Mary has created, how do we expand this outside of just Oceana and offer it up at the other schools?
Wow. It would be great to have more capacity, right? And more funding. And so all of our programs are grant funded. We've been writing grants for 20 years. And so to have some buy-in that way from the district would be really wonderful, and to support the capacity at each school. And so that's the dream, right? As we're moving forward, we're rebranding, we're reevaluating our programs, we're really looking at what it's going to take for us to have a group at each school, how many interns we need, how many hours it takes, and that's really where we're headed. And so please support us along the way.
Thank you, Mary. With regards to, the statistic about the girls not feeling safe, the 12% based on the California Healthy Kids Survey last year. So my question to you students, do you think that with what you're seeing in terms of the supports in the district today, do you think that percentage on the next survey could go down? Where do you think we're headed?
So sorry, the question was, how do we see this, do we see the percentage going down for the next few years?
Right, given the support level of some of the supports that you see from the district and from adults today, do you think that potentially that the percentage of young women who think that might go down?
Okay, I think that if we follow, on our slides, we said our next steps, what we want to do next. I think if we follow through with those and do our best to, try and, just do those, I think the percentage could go down because like we were saying in the slides, we want to give support systems to the perpetrators and the victims. And we think by doing that, instead of suspension or detention, punishment, by finding the root of the problem instead of going straight to punishment will definitely help the perpetrators and the victims, which will, by giving them a support system, it'll definitely decrease that percentage, I think. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah.
Oh, amazing presentation. I'm so impressed, and you're very inspiring because I can tell that all of you are, it's not just community service, because to you, you've turned community service into a calling. And we need more students like you. We need more people like you out there. And I can tell that, while you're speaking, you know what you're talking about because you feel it. You really care. There's so much that I wanted to ask you. That 12% of JUHSD girls afraid of getting beat up, just girls afraid of getting beat up, that's just horrifying to me. I went to high school here at the district in the 70s and 80s, and I have 3 brothers, and they raised me to always watch your back. But I was like an academic student, but you had to watch your back. From what? But now these are students who could be my children, and girls who are afraid of going to school. And like you said, you should create an environment where you're safe, supported, and ready to learn. And those are the basics, right? So what some of the questions I have, like you pointed out, how do you see a wellness counselor? And how do you normalize getting help without it being stigmatized? And I think sometimes it's harder for the boys to go seek help.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big issue we were seeing in our community because nobody really had that close connection with the school counselor. And a lot of people don't even have that connection with their own parents.
Right.
Which we thought was a big deal, which is why we kind of wanted to find that ability to get a connection, whether it be maybe having like mandated like student counselor meetings with students, maybe like once every couple of months even. Like I feel like even having that check-in would be really good for students, which is kind of a solution we thought of, but we don't know if it could be fully implemented. And yeah, that was just one of the many ideas I feel like we had, but we just noticed it as kind of a big issue, which is why we wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, it is a big issue because even with our student trustees, almost every year, one of a lot of the issues that come up are, how do you see a counselor? How do you see a wellness counselor? It was a lot of their classmates and friends don't even know how to do that because, I mean, yeah, how do we make that more normal? And I know our counselors have a heavy caseload, and I know they try to see a student at least twice a year, but it's so hard. So you guys talked a lot about your focus group discussions. What does that look like? Who is in that focus group?
So in those focus groups, it starts with one of us usually, and for example, and we're the ones facilitating it, and we come up with these questions we ask about discussions. And in those focus groups, we have usually, or the last few summits, what we've done is we've separated the adults and the children.
So it's at the summit?
Yes, at the summit.
Okay.
That's where we normally do it. And in those, we have discussions and we have separate questions for adults and separate questions for children, and also some similar questions so we can hear both perspectives, but also so it's more tailored to each group. Like from the youth, we want to hear more about what does this look like in schools? And in the adults, we want to see what does this conversation look like with the kids around you? What was it like for you during your time? And there's just a lot of differences we've seen in those, and also just provides that space for people to talk about it as well.
Because I feel like you've all educated me here, because you're out there, you're getting the information. And I think it's more powerful hearing possible solutions from the students, and because of all the work that you're doing. Of course, Mary Beer, love you. You're amazing. And I think you've changed all our lives, right? So, and I'm just imagining a lot of you are probably going to be leading these focus group discussions, and I think it's just so powerful that you'll be doing that. You also mentioned that JUHSD should have representation on the San Mateo County Opioid Task Force. I don't know what the task force is. It seems important. And do you think a student should be able to I would love for a student to serve on that.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yeah, it's a brand new task force. The first meeting's in a couple weeks. They've done focus groups around the county. So it's San Mateo County Behavioral Health and Recovery Services.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it would be great to have a student representative. And if somebody would like to do that, please have them reach out to me and they can come with me.
Oh, okay. Great. So are you on the task force?
Well, yes, but we need more.
You need more. Absolutely. Need more.
A student representative would be perfect.
Yes, would be perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you.
Mary, I want to say thank you for bringing us this articulate, powerful, independent, a collaborative group of students. To all of you, thank you for coming here tonight and sharing with us. I'm pretty sure I could not have done that when I was in high school. I think that, I don't think I know that I'm really impressed with your presentation, and not only about the things we judge presentations by, how clear they are and how interesting they are, and, how great the slide deck is. But really, this is about things that are of utmost importance to the district community, and to the students. So thank you. I wrote down a lot of notes. I think it's interesting that you talked a lot about school safety, and school safety is at the center of one of our most important board goals. And maybe we, in achieving our goals, can take something from what you've shared now and what you share in this May 10th Youth Summit. And I want to congratulate you on this flyer and whoever had the idea to give free lunch. It's fantastic. So the way these things kind of go sometimes is this may be the last time that you see me, but it doesn't have to be. I and the rest of the board, I'm sure, welcome any contact you want to reach out to us for if you need resources or want to provide us with any. But I just want to say that I know that BTC has not seen the last of me because of you. So thanks. I have one question, a series of questions. How many of you are seniors? Did anyone's senior X project have anything to do with what you presented on tonight?
So actually, one of our seniors who unfortunately could not be here today because they are in Washington, D.C. during interim week, his senior X was about safe injection sites in San Francisco. And I can try to answer. I've seen his presentation, so I could try to answer anything related, but unfortunately, he could not be here today.
Okay, I'm just curious. Thank you.
And one other note is that we have 3 other groups with just as many students. And so I'm sure that question can go out to them too. They're just not in this group.
Right.
We have our podcast group, our social media group,
Right.
and our summit group. So.
Thank you. And I guess I should also offer a chance for anyone to say if they had an exhibition project at any level, senior or otherwise, this kind of stuff. Yeah, great.
Exhibition.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I mostly just wanted to speak up and advocate for those of you that are at home to come to this May 10th event. It's something that me and my family have gone to multiple times. And even though these are heavy topics, as the flyer says, it's really for all ages. I started with taking my child when they were 12, and that first year they're like, 10 out of 10, I want to do it again. So I would just encourage families to attend the event. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The show must go on. 15A1, approval of the JUHSD 2025-2026 Board of Education Governance Calendar. Deputy Superintendent Van Raphorst.
Thank you. Before you tonight is a meeting calendar for the upcoming year. The 25-26 calendar includes regular meetings, special meetings, student advisory council meetings, CSBA and AEC conference dates, the first day and last day of school, and our school holidays. It's recommended that you approve it and adopt it tonight.
Move to approve the governance calendar for 25-26.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. (15B1) regards the Third Amendment to Energy Service Agreement, partial solar decommissioning. Deputy Superintendent of Business Services, Ms. Van Raphorst.
Thank you. Before you tonight is an amendment to our energy service agreement to allow for the decommissioning of the solar panels on top of the gym at Jefferson High School so that they can demo the building. Because we are ending the contract early, it will cost us about $350,000.
That's insane.
All right, move to approve the third amendment to energy service agreement, partial solar decommissioning.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consideration future agenda items.
Student safety. That seemed again, I think, as I said earlier in the comment, we've had multiple instances where I felt the word safety has come up. I know it's part of our district goals, but I think if anything, this is like no child should be afraid to go to school because the word I go, they're going to get beat up. Like that's just scary to think of. So I definitely would like to look a little bit deeper into that. So, yeah.
Any others?
No.
You know what to do, board.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. 8:07.